Hello guys, this is Ark and this is the preview for the patch 13.20. This is essentially the start of the preseason, the patch after Worlds, where Riot will introduce us to the next season. I do not really have any idea what is in here, so let's just get right on top of this. Champion buffs Galio, W cooldown 18 to 16 to 18 to 14, W passive seal timer 12 seconds to 12 to 8 seconds. Um, Good buffs for Galio. I think this is the ability he maxes last. I think he maxes Q first, then E, then W. Will this mean that now he can max W second? Q is always first, right? But does this mean that he can max this now instead of E? I'm not really sure. I mean, having a more mobility is always a good thing, and that's what E provides. But regardless, this is like a mid to late game buff for Galio, some more flexibility with his W now. Um, Even the passive seal timer going down is good. Um, so I think it's overall like a good buff for Galio. Not game breaking, not like making him a meta champion, but it's a good thing for kind of like a placebo buff, but not so much as well. Um, Jinx, health per level 100 to 105. So at level 9, she gets an extra 45 HP. At level 18, she gets an extra 90. Okay, might play a role like one every like 50 games, especially in the early game. Passive 24% bonus attack speed on kill now stacks, so this can be big. Her passive lasts for like 3 seconds, right? I think. Um, so now if she gets multiple kills, then this means that she gets more attack speed and more attack speed, which is, I mean, if she gets a first kill, she will probably like kill your entire team if you were on even footing, right? So now Jinx getting more attack speed does not really matter, but there might be some situations where the extra attack speed might, I don't know, help her like because it's only attack speed, it's not movement speed, right? So it's not like she will chase down any more than she was before. But I mean, I guess it's more attack speed on kill, so on like stacking, so whatever. Uh, R cooldown 55 to 55 to 50 to 70 to 50, so minus 5 second on her ultimate. I think her ultimate's cooldown is already quite low, so reducing it even more probably not necessary. And she also gets some more damage on her ultimate. Is it necessary? Probably not, but it is what it is. Melee passive burn now always is always considered as melee's damage, does not steal kill credit, enables Chemical Putrefier through allies. Okay, this is massive. So it used to be Chemical Putrefier's. So yeah, Chemical Putrefier used to be you shield or heal an ally and then they can inflict grievous wounds. Now they changed that to basically a more Economicon, right? Um, but now if you shield or W an ally as melee, the extra damage from your passive that they deal is considered as your damage, shows on your damage graph, does not steal minions though, does not steal kills in general, but because it's supposed to be your damage, it enables Chemical Putrefier. So this is a big for melee. E cooldown minus 1 second. It's big because it's a stacking ability, so having more stacks more often is always a good thing. E seals, he gets 20 extra shield at max rank. So this means there is, if you were not maxing E before, you can max E now, I guess. And R healing gets an extra 20% AP ratio from 30 to 50. These are all like quite big buffs for Milio. Um, he was gutted quite a lot because he was strong on release, especially with like hyper carries with a lot of range. but he was gutted a lot, and now he's getting some buffs. I think Milio, these are good changes for Milio. I think he could be in a good spot now. Morgana, WAP ratio 14% to 17%. W monster damage 155% to 165%, so more damage to everyone and even more damage to monsters. That's fine. E cooldown 24 to 16 to 26 to 16. So she, I think she maxes her Black Seal last, no matter which build she goes for or which role he plays in the game. So having 2 extra seconds of cooldown on an already on a spell that already has a lot of a big cooldown is not a good thing for Morgana, but I do not really think will be make or break. Our movement speed towards enemies 5 to 55 to 10 to 60, so an extra 5% movement speed when she presses your ultimate, which is doubled at rank 1, so this is quite big. Our stun duration 1.5 seconds to 1.5 to 2 seconds, so at high ranks it stands for longer, which is quite massive actually. Our damage hits twice, 150 to 300 and 0.7 AP ratio to 175 to 325 and 0.8 AP ratio. So these are all quite big Morgana buffs. Because now if you like use your Q and root somebody, then your W will be dealing quite a lot more damage now. And then you also have the extra reliability of hitting your ultimate, which means that you know you stand your opponent, like you get more movement speed, you land your ulti more reliably now, you stand them for longer at levels 11 and 16, and your ulti deals more damage, your W deals more damage. So these are good changes for like Jungle Morgana. I think Jungle Morgana can actually become a big thing now, which is always exciting, I guess. Ziggs Q radius 150 to 180. That's big for Ziggs because um, Ziggs Q is kind of easy to dodge. So now having bigger radius is always a big thing for Ziggs. This is a big buff. Like it's not a cooldown buff, it's not a damage buff, it's not like a mana cost buff, but the radius being bigger is like um, a massive buff for Ziggs because if you land more Qs because of this, then this means you're getting more damage overall, right? So all these changes, all these buffs are quite good. Um, so good job on this. Action, champion nerfs, action. Q bonus movement speed 40% to 20 to 40%. Um, I'm not sure if Action is very strong right now, and if he needs a nerf, he probably does, but because Action, right? And this is a good nerf. It's a good way to like nerf him, but um not his damage, right? So this is a good thing. Belveth, oh no. Passive bonus attacks with after spell cast for 2 attacks, 25 to 50% to 20 to 40%. Okay. E, damage reduction 70% to 42 to 70%. Wow, this is massive. Because it's a spell she maxes second, so for until like level 8, she will be having a lot less damage reduction now, which is good. It's one of those things that people complained a lot about Belva. She presses E and you cannot kill her, and she kills you instead. So I think this is a good change. Damage on her E can now crit, which makes sense. Uh, I don't know why it didn't before. Damage goes base damage goes down, but the scaling on attack damage goes up. So the on hit damage goes from 6% to 8%. So Riot is trying to make Belveth less of a tanky, um, Jaxo, like I've seen Jaxo, etc. type of champion, and go into more like a Kraken Slayer, more and Blade of the Ruin King, etc. More like a glass cannon sort of thing. Or at least it gives her the tools to do that if she wishes to do so, right? are true form out of combat movement speed 25 to 75 to 10 to 80, so less movement speed at the beginning of the game, but more towards the late game. Remora health 40 to 60% to 20 to 70%. So she gets quite significant early game nerfs, but she will be stronger if she reaches her late game potential. Which are, I mean, I do not think Belveth is very strong, at least not in pro play. I think Solikus is quite good, but not in pro play. So she's good in TFT. So um, Kaisa armor 28 to 25. Kaisa has been quite strong for a very long time now. Being a bit more vulnerable in the lane phase, especially, is a good thing. Queen, health, base health, 603 to 565. So that's like minus 40 or 38. Uh, Decent, sizable nerf here. Movement speed 335 to 330, so minus 5 ms. But she gets more attack damage by growth, 2.4 to 2.7. So she loses 38 health, she loses 5 ms, but she gains 0.3 attack damage per level. So at level 10 she gets 3 AD, at level 18 she gets 5.4. Not the end of the world in terms of buffs. I mean, it's almost negligible, but the early game nerfs are quite big, so it is what it is. ZW cooldown, here we go, 20 to 14 seconds to 20 to 17 seconds. So a lot of people have been complaining about ZW cooldown because with all the access to ability haste and the shadow slash thingy, or I think, yeah, if the shadow slashes with E, it reduces the cooldown, right, by 2 seconds. Um, I think a more healthy way would be that as you stack up your ability haste, the cooldown refund from the shadow slash goes down, right? Um, but I mean, it's not the end of the world for Zed, but it was quite on a broken stage before, so I think this is fine. This is perfectly fine. Champion adjust. What? Oh my God! What is this? I'm not gonna read all of that. Sorry. Okay, Sante. So some health goes down on base health, but gets more per level. More armor growth. Wait, is this the slight rework of Keisante? Yeah, I think this is a Keisante rework actually. I mean, there's so much text, so I'm probably gonna do a separate video for that. I'm not gonna do this here. System buffs. Blighted Jewel, so it's the item before Void stuff. Price at 1250 to 1100. Wow, that's insane actually. Um, so for if you need like early penetration, uh, you can get this now for 150 gold less, which is insane. Void Stuff's price remain the same, but the early Blighting Jewel can be quite OP now. Um, it's still not as good as Sorc Shoes in the early game because Blighting Jewels is percentage, and unless it's a how much is it? Is it like 15% or something like that? I cannot recall, but Sorcery is always better for the early game if you want your penetration early, or like Ludens, Psycho, etc. But if you want some sort of like, if you want to skip your boots, for example, go into your main build and then somebody stacks like Merc Threads, etc., you can go for Blighting Jewel instead of Sorc Shoes and it'll be completely fine. This is a great change. Um, Yomu's Ghostblade, Haunt Lethality 3 to 12 to 7 to 18. So finally, Yomu's Ghostblade can become an item again because personally I thought that the lethality it granted was almost useless. Like 3 to 12 is like when you build the item like level 7, for example, you would be getting like 5 lethality or like 6 lethality. That's not enough lethality for a mythic item. Like, why would you skip Duskblade or Eclipse for this? Doesn't make sense. Um, the out of combat movement speed was nice, but it stacks way too slow. So, unless your champion is specifically roam heavy, like maybe a jungler or like a Talon, the item was completely useless. And even then, like even roaming champions will probably not pick this item because Duskblade and Eclipse exists. So, but this is a good change now. This kind of makes the item semi-viable. Um, Speaking of Duskblade, here is a nerf. Build haste 20 to 15, max nice talker damage 18% to 16%. So this is a weird thing. Like when Duskblade was reintroduced, like 3 months ago or so, they changed it because the invisibility was toxic to play against. So they made it into untargetability and kind of like invulnerability as well, right? And when they did that, the item was quite weak because its passive dealt um, not as much damage. Um, so the item was quite weak, and people didn't really know how to play with the new untargetability thingy. And because of that, the item was underpowered. Then they buffed the passive damage. Lower health means more damage for you. Um, so they buffed that, and I think they gave some extra AD as well. And then it became a good item. And then they nerfed the item again because um, I think they nerfed the cooldown of the untargetability went from like 10 seconds to 30 seconds, which I don't doesn't really make sense, but whatever. And now they are nerfing it. They nerfed the passive damage from 20% to 18%, and now they're nerfing it again by dropping it to 16%. So pretty much the same as it was when it was reintroduced. 15% was then, 16% will be now, which obviously doesn't really make any difference. And the ability haste is dropped from 20 to 15. So the item was introduced with 20 ability haste, 15% bonus amplification damage, and 10 seconds of cooldown on its passive. And now it will be having less ability haste, 15, basically the same damage from the passive, and more cooldown on its passive as well. So the item is now worse than what it was when it was reintroduced, but for some reason, players will keep picking the item, and like a stronger version of the item was considered weak, and this weaker version will be considered strong, which does not make any freaking sense. um, why this exists as a logic, But whatever. Maybe with the Yomu's Ghostblade buff, maybe people might move away from Duskblade a bit, but I'm not really that hopeful. Um, Another thing I want to touch on here is, the lethality mythic items versus going for like Gold Drinker, Stride Breaker, for Assassin specifically. Like, why would you go for like lethality if you can, like, okay, lethality gives you more damage, right? But this extra damage you deal because of the lethality, you can proc your Stride Breaker, your active, and deal extra damage from that as well. So why would you go for like Duskblade or Eclipse when you go Stride Breaker? This is a big discussion that I'm not going to go into right now, but something to think about. Like, I think lethality items need to change a bit. I think um, the whole stat needs to change in some way to make lethality be more valuable, because in its current stage, I think lethality is quite underperforming unless you stack a lot of it. Lord Dominic's regards, bug fix now properly amplifies damage dealt into shields. Maximum damage amplification 25% to 22%. So, I always thought that Lord Dominic's regards damage amplification was very, very strong, and I'm not sure if it needs a buff. I thought it was strong, like a cool thing to have, but not strong in terms of like broken. Um, I'm not sure if it needs a nerf, but a nerf will happen. So jungle adjustments. Okay. Oh my God. How? Oh wow. Okay, so these are all like jungle adjustments. Okay. Smite champion pet damage 20 to 106 to 40. What? Wait. What? Huh? Wait. You. Uh. Wait. What? Bro, so you used to press smite at like level 13, you dealt like 120 damage to your opponent. Why are you dealing 40 now? Okay. Tier 3 monster AoE, 50% to 100%, doesn't matter. New 350 unit target forgiveness versus epic monster if your cursor is not on another valid target. What? Wait, how do you miss your smite on a Drake with no one else around? What? Okay. Damage type spell into proc will not trigger. Okay, whatever. Jungle avatar upgrades. Gas Walker Bros movement speed 45% to 30%. What? They are killing the blue pet. I mean, you still get quite a lot of MS, but 45% was big. What? Monster kill MS 60 to 6% to 45%. Okay. Why are you nerfing it? Most Stomper, Green Pet, Tenacity still what? Why are they removing it? Shield 60 to 281 to 180 to 300. Okay, more shielding, I guess. Scorch or burn applied by any damage to attack or spell, not triggered by smite. That's a red pet, which you probably cannot proc this with like, I don't know, static sieve, I guess? Or, yeah, static sieve. Remove 20% less damage taken from epic monster with 2 plus nearby. What? Why are they doing these changes? Is there anybody who like complained about this? Like people complain about the jungle role in general because of agency and yada yada yada, but nobody complains about the pets. Like, the pets were actually quite a good introduction into the game last year. Why are they, I mean, it's not gonna break the jungle role, but having less damage on your smite or like, uh, wow. Jungle camp health, normal camp health, 100 to 200% to 100. Okay, so what they are getting, the camps are getting like healthier as the game goes on up to level 18, so that's fine, I guess. Buffs are also getting stronger, more healthy, I should say. Level 1 large raptor health, 1100 to 1200. Doesn't really matter because you still need the AoE to like kill the little ones. So yeah. Okay, small medium crag XP. Okay, small and medium crags give slightly more XP now. That's what it seems like. Petty DPS ratios. Uh, so the pet damage, the damage from the pets are is now less based on your bonus AD and AP and more on your bonus armor and bonus MR. So tankier champions in the jungle, let's say Amumu, right, will now be dealing more damage to the jungle camps later on in the game, which whatever. Scuttle Crab health rewards health 100 to 213% to 100 to 360%. So Scuttle Crab becomes much healthier as the game goes on, and it gives more gold and XP as well. Okay. Jungler healing, heal on kill, 30 to 166, out to 200. Okay, 12% missing HP. Uh, I do not think I like this. Wait, no, 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 wait. What? Wait, is this 30 to 166 based on level and it increases by 205% based on your missing HP? Has to be, right? Yeah, it has to be. So let's say level 1. If you if you have like 300 HP out of your 600 total, you will be getting some sort of like 60 HP back or something, or like 45. But now you will be getting like 36. I don't know, it feels like it's less, at least in the early game. Same for mana. I think pet healing is 70% of pet DPS and change. New heal cap 12 to 45. I don't know if this is big or not. I guess we can just go into once the patch lands, you can just go into the jungle, see how it feels now, but it feels like a nerf. Um, Anti-poaching large monster armor NMR 20 to 42. What? What? Huh? So, so monsters becomes tankier, and the jungle items deal more damage to them. Why? Minion XP penalty 60 to 20, wow, 60 to 25% being it's 0 to 14 to 70 to 0% at 0 to 20. Okay, this is good because now after 20 minutes you get full XP from minion waves, which is great. As a jungler, no longer locks penalty on avatar completion. Comeback XP threshold 1.1 levels down to 1. Okay, that's good. Water walking nerf, movement speed. Uh, 25 to 10, adaptive force 530 to 1330. Uh, I'm still wondering why people pick water walking, the rune. Is it for the movement speed or the adaptive force? Like which one of those stats is more important? I think it's for the movement speed, right? Like better roaming and can escape or disengage if you want to, especially like dragon fights or early scuttle crab contests. But now you have less movement speed, which is a big nerf on the movement speed, but you have more adaptive force now, even in the early game, which can be quite important actually. Like killing a dragon like more quickly now, or getting a scuttle crab slightly faster. I think this is an okay change in my opinion. Honestly, I wish they would do like movement speed 10 to 25, so in the late game, the rune is the same, but you have less movement speed early on, but more adaptive force. Because overall, this is a nerf as the game goes on. So this is more like of an early game rune over anything else. Um, Doran and support starting items. Doran's items are now unique. You cannot buy two of them. Uh, Wait, what? Wait, you cannot buy the same ones, and you cannot even buy like different Doran's items. So you can only buy one Doran item in general. Okay. Doran's Blade HP 80 to 100, AD 8 to 10. Okay, this is a massive buff for the item. What? They made it 25% stronger. This is extremely cost efficient. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because a lot of people like were rushing Longsword because it gave like not as good stats, but it helped you rush into your mythic item faster, and it had value that way. You can also, longsword plus refillable pod, for example. That was always the idea. But now it incentivizes you to buy Doran's Blade. It's extremely cost efficient, in my opinion. Not in my opinion, it is. Um, will it be enough to make people want to move away from longsword refillable pod? I think it will be. I think this is a big buff for the item, and I think a lot of people will buy the item now. Doran's Ring HP 70 to 90 health, and AP 15 to 18. Similar to Doran's Blade, I think this is a massive buff for the item. Doran's Shield 80 to 110, and regeneration 0 to 40 to 0 to 45. So yeah, I think Doran's items are. Oh, and Dark Seal hit points 40 to 50. Okay. Um, I think that Doran's items now are extremely powerful, and if you do not build one when the game starts, I think you're trolling, flat out trolling. Um, so yeah, these are good changes for Doran's item. I always thought that Longsword plus refillable start was weird and should not be done, should not be right to be done. Um, so the Doran's items buffs are very good when it comes to that. Support item AP plus 2, AD plus 1. Support item HP, spell physical to plus 15, and relic soldier guards plus 20. So more buffs to support items. Starting stats, which is fine actually. I think these are great changes here. I think these are very good changes. Anti-snowball adjustments. Individual dragon rewards. Cloud 70% slow resist and out of combat movement speed to 5%. Hextech 7.5% ability haste and attack speed 5. Um, Infernal 5% AD and AP to 3%. Mountain Soul, Mountain Dragon 8% bonus armor and magic resist to 5%. And Ocean Soul 2.5% missing HP per 5 seconds to 2%. So the individual dragon buffs are weaker now. Somebody would say they're complete shit now. Um, but okay. Dragon Soul, Cloud Souls, 15% bonus MS to 20% bonus MS. Okay. Hextech, Slow, 40% to 45, and for range 30 to 35, so more slow for Hextech Soul. Infernal Soul base damage 80 to 100, Mountain Shield 180 to 220, Ocean heal 130 to 150, Mana regen 80 to 100. So what they did is they made the individual dragons bad, but they made the souls be not much stronger, but a bit stronger. Um, Personally, I always thought that wasting time to do dragon was bad, was always a waste of time basically, and it was always much better to just go for the Herald. Uh, these changes make it even more prominent now that uh, these dragon buffs, the individual ones, are terrible, and you should never waste your time unless it's completely free and there is literally nothing else you can do in the game. Because how often are you gonna get a dragon soul? And because this whole thing here is that okay, the individual dragons are weaker, but if you get um, the soul is stronger, so it's worth it. Like it compensates, right? But how often do you reach Dragon Soul, but you are not already winning the game? So these changes do not matter. Like the Dragon Soul buffs do not matter. But if you get dragons now, when the game is still undecided, the buffs you get are weaker, so you're not as strong as you were before. So I think these changes, like the Dragon Soul buffs, are useless. They almost do not matter. Um, Rift Herald gold, local gold 200 to 100. Oh man, come on, I like Rift Herald. Okay, death timers, levels 2 and 3 reduced by 2 seconds, 4 and 6 reduced by 4 seconds, level 7 reduced by 5 seconds, level 8 reduced by 6.5 seconds, level 9 reduced by 4 seconds. So, oh, what? Sorry about that. Uh, so if you die now in the early game, you respawn faster. So this means that if I kill you in lane, I cannot really push for plates anymore. I cannot push an extra wave and recall anymore. I mean, you still can, but not as often. Was this necessary? I mean, now people are being punished less for dying by missing less minion waves. Uh, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I don't know. I mean, as a jungler, it's good because you kill the enemy lane and they come back to lane faster, so you can kill them again. Like you're an Evelyn, you kill somebody while being invisible, you do a camp, and then you go back in lane and kill them again. So it is what it is. Tower plates, plate gold 175 to 125. Wow, why? It's like anti-snowball adjustment. So I mean, a lot of games are like decided in the first like 10 minutes. Oh, I got two plates, you're fucked. Um, I got like a couple drakes, and now I can more comfortably go for soul. You're fucked. I got Herald with extra gold from the Herald. You're fucked. Now these things are a bit nerfed, so you cannot snowball as hard. So there are more possibilities for the enemy team to come back. Which I mean, it's nice, but at the same time, I think people should be rewarded for making the correct play, for playing well, etc. Um, no, it is what it is. I don't even play League anymore, so I don't care. Runes changes electric damage 30 to 180 plus 40% bonus AD, 25% AP to 30 to 220 plus 10%. What? Ah? Wait, so a champion with 100 AP is losing 20 damage from this. 20 damage that is only compensated at like level 11? Or not even 11, it's much, much later. What? Wait, this nerf is insane. If I have like 500 AP, I'm losing 100 damage from my electrocute proc. And let's say 100 minus 20 from the base damage, like minus 80 damage. What? And same for bonus AD. Bro, what? This is a massive nerf for electrocute. What? I mean, it's slightly better for champions who do not build damage. I don't like a support maybe. So you can do slightly, but if you do not pick an engage support for its damage, you're not gonna go electrocute on a freaking Alistar, man. Unless you go full AP. What is this? You can you can essentially just remove the AP ratio. It doesn't matter. Just like if you have 100 ability power, you get an extra 5 damage on this. Does nothing. It's useless. What? In the early game, this what? In the late game, you can have like 700 ability power. It will only give you an extra 35 damage. Where before it would give you like 170 or something. Wait, this is terrible. Who thought of this? Why would you ever pick electrocute anymore? What's the point of picking electrocute anymore? So you're like level 11. Your electrocute proc will deal like 120 damage. That's it. 130 damage. That's it. Like your keystone rune, which only deals damage, will only deal an extra like 130 at level like 11 or 12 or 13. That's terrible. Dark Harvest damage 20 to 60. Wait, is this? Oh my god, it's the same. It's the same, but not as big of a nerf because for Electrocute it went for like 40% to 10, but for Dark Harvest it went for 25 to 10. So it's not that big of a nerf. But Dark Harvest is bad anyway. You should never play this rune unless you're like Karthus or even on Karthus, just go first strike. Oh, Arcane Comet 300. Oh my, it's the same for this. It's same for Salmon Airy. Same for the Sealed. Fleet Footwork. What? 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 What are you doing, Riot? Wait, so basically, press the attack gets nerfed quite a lot. First strike, or not first strike, but Fleet Footwork, the healing gets nerfed a lot. Lethal Tempo, the attack speed you get gets nerfed. Not like massively, but gets nerfed. Conqueror gets nerfed. So the entirety of the precision tricky stones are all nerfed. Electricity and Dark Harvest are nerfed, which are, apart from like Hill of Blades, the only runes that exists. Summonary and Arcane Comet are nerfed. Taste of Blood healing is nerfed. First strike bonus damage is nerfed. Wait, so what keystone rune should I go for? Like I thought keystone runes were supposed to be like not game changing but integral parts of a champion's kit. But now they are getting hard nerfed to the ground, man. What is this? Because these are runes that, offensive champions pick. It's not tanky runes. It's runes for champions that build attack damage and ability power. And these runes scale with attack damage and ability power. But now you nerf them so that they essentially do not scale with AD and AP. They only scale with their base scaling, which essentially means it's better to it's quote unquote better to get electrocute on a freaking Malphite tank top than a freaking Zed. I don't know, man. Like, whoever complained about these keystone runes? Who complained? Who complained about them? Baron HP 12,600 plus 180 per minute to 15,000 plus 180 per minute. Okay, Baron is a bit tankier, doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it kind of matters. Maybe the enemy team has a bit more time to respond now. Whatever. So this patch started quite well with the champion buffs, continued fine with the champion nerfs. I don't know what Case Santa does. Uh, this is good, this is good. The Duskblade nerf, probably not necessary. LDR nerf, probably not necessary. And then jungle adjustments. I think it will be worse, but unless I try them on Summoner's Rift myself, I cannot really say for sure if they are better or not. But if I had to make a guess right now, I'd say they are worse, or at least, I mean, not worse for the game, but worse for junglers themselves. That's for sure. Um, but maybe it's better for the game. I don't know. Doran's item being buffed and support items being buffed is big. This is a good change. I think the water walking nerf is fine. Um, but these, I think all of these are terrible. This is probably the worst preseason patch that we have gotten. Like, I'm not one of those people who like criticizes and hates on everything. Oh, you changed this, you ruined it, or oh, I liked the way it was before and it's ruined now. I pretty much um never complain about things like this. I always like changes. I like, discovering new tech, new metas, etc. I'm always excited for preseason changes because there is always new things to try and figure out. Um, try to optimize stuff, etc. So I'm always excited about preseason changes. Um, which is why, for example, I liked the Doran items buffs. Now you can see how much you can abuse your early game against people who go for like longsword plus refillable, right? Or for example, I like Morgana being played in the jungle again, for example. Or I don't know, Yomu's Ghostblade being stronger. But man, these changes, the anti-snowball adjustments, I mean, there are so many better ways to reduce the snowballing if you want to. Like the plate gold going down, that's okay. Um, But why am I punished for taking Rift Herald? Like, Rift Herald is not even a snowball thing. You do not get Herald because you're snowballing. You get Herald because, oh, I saw the enemy gank in the bottom lane or doing dragon. I'm gonna go get the Herald. It's not my fault that the enemy jungler does not want to respond to me taking Herald. They're like sleeping inside their jungle. I do not care. Why should I care? I mean, if you want to nerf the local goal for the second Herald, when at that point maybe the snowballing has begun and you do not want to make it bigger, then you can remove it or reduce it. But doing it for the first one, like why? Like why am I basically punished for making a good play, taking the Herald? Because sure, the Herald itself is a good thing, but like look at this now. If I take Herald and take two plates with it, I get 200 gold less because 50 golds per plate, 50 gold per plate times 2, that's 100, plus another 100 here, that's 200. So 200 less gold for taking Rift Herald now. Why? I used to be doing, like as a jungler, I used to be doing like this Rift Herald power play, take Herald, gank top, kill top, push two plates without Herald, then use Herald to push another two. You would usually get the entire tower, and that's how you snowball. And I mean, I understand that this is anti-snowball, but why am I being punished for making a good play? I mean, at this moment, if I get a kill, don't even give me gold for a kill. Like what? How am I supposed to get an advantage over my opponent if you do not um I don't know, if I cannot convert uh my good play into gold. Like how like if I take neutral objectives now, if I take dragon individually, they're terrible. They do nothing. So I take them only in hopes we ever get soul. So I waste like 30 seconds of my time plus risk having the dragon stolen or having the enemy come and kill me, etc., etc. And while I'm doing it, I might get invaded and lose my stuff, or you know, the enemy jungler deals or does a gank and they get a kill, for example. All the time, I'm doing like dragon to get basically a non-existent buff, only in hopes that after 20 minutes, if everything goes well and we snowball properly, we can get the dragon soul. But this is like anti-snowball. So if we do not snowball, we will never get to the dragon soul. So it doesn't matter that we got the individual ones. And no, denying it from the opponent is not an argument. So now, if I go for the neutral objectives, if I go for dragon, I'm punished compared to before. If I go for Rift Herald, I'm punished compared to before. So why should I ever try to get the neutral objectives? They're a waste of time. Why waste my time getting no XP or gold because you pretty much do not get any XP from Dragon or Herald, and risk a fight and die, etc., etc., when I could be farming my jungle or ganking a lane and getting kills? Like, why would I ever do Dragon now? I mean, Herald is still good, not as good as before, of course, but it's still okay. It has its value. But why would I ever go and do Dragon now? How am I supposed to snowball now? Like, the only way to snowball now is what? Like, kill the enemy top laner and then freeze against him and like, How am I supposed to freaking extend my advantage now? Because it's easy for the enemy or even myself, for the player who's behind, to stay under tower and collect minion waves. That's easy. You can do that. And you cannot really punish that unless you find some sort of, freeze, etc. And how do you punish that? You cannot. You cannot punish somebody staying under tower and picking up all the XP and gold, or most of the XP and most of the gold. How do you punish that? How, like, I have an advantage in lane, but I cannot push it. And so because I cannot, I would like to take a herald and place it in the top lane and take some plates. This is a good um, this is a good way out of the stalemate in the top lane, for example. This is a good alternative because, oh, my opponent likes to play risk averse and they never want to fight because they know they will lose. So I'm just, ping ponging minion waves. But I could leave, get Rift Herald, place it top and get some plates. But now there is no value to that, no real value. So how am I supposed to push my advantage? If it means that I will snowball, then let me snowball. I don't care. I want my good play to be rewarded. I don't wanna, because if the enemy makes a mistake, they need to be punished for it. And if you just do one mistake, I mean, sure, you're losing lane, but you're not out of it. You need to make multiple mistakes that lead to multiple deaths for you to be completely out of the game on an irreversible state. But a lot of the time, I make a good play, I get an advantage, but it's not a big one. It's not a big advantage. So how am I supposed to like push my advantage if my opponent plays safely enough that I cannot really push it any further? I don't know. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So yeah, this is the patch review. Started off well, ended up terribly bad. Oh, we'll see how it goes.